What's up, everybody? It's Waba, and I want to take a little bit of time to talk about the Elementalist Shockwave Totem build that I just played in the Turmoil 10-day event. I did finish 6th overall for Elementalist at level 96. The last hour of the race, well, about last hour and a half of the race was pretty stressful for some reasons. If you're watching my stream, you'll know, but you could go to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/wabachaw, and type in !PK, and you could see the last moments of the race and how it kind of turned out. I would actually recommend watching maybe even the VOD of that last like 2 hours of the race and the event for me. But I want to take a little bit of time to just talk about Shockwave Totem and what I did with it recently, and and kind of give you guys an overview to everything, like kind of my thoughts on it, so maybe you could play it and do better than me with it. Because honestly, while I finished at level 96, there were a lot of things that I did early on that weren't really Shockwave Totem related, but just more like my lack of knowledge about PoE racing and mapping efficiently. There were a lot of things that I did that I could have done better, and this build in the hands of a player who was better than me, or better than I was, because I've learned a lot. I honestly think you could get 100 with this pick quite easily, especially in an event like that. Maybe that's kind of a stretch, but absolutely 98, because had I not died the few times I did, I would have been like halfway to 97. And again, I wasted a lot of time and currency and everything. So first off, this is the passive tree, straightforward. This is a pretty standard passive tree for Shockwave Totem. It's been pretty much the same for quite a long time. You could probably change some pathing in it if you wanted to, like you might be able to go through Elementalist and get Devotion and come down here, and you would skip all this up here. The original reason why I pathed up here is because I had some slight chance of taking Whispers of Doom. So if that's something that you potentially do, then you would want to path that way to accommodate that. But if you're not going to, then maybe coming through Elementalist and grabbing Devotion and going through this Jewel Socket would be better, because this would give you a little bit more strength. This would actually give you 50 more strength, which would make a lot of things easier. And then it would just give you more life and everything. But again, I'll put the paste bin for this down below. If there's one thing that I would actually change about the tree at this point, is I would drop these nodes, Crackling Speed. I did take the 2-point reward for the bandits, and looking back on it, I think I would actually just go with Alira. Just because it's going to make gearing a little bit easier for your resist, and then also you're going to get some really nice crit multi from it as well, which you essentially get this minus the lightning damage and the cast speed and the shock effect, which is important, but you get one more passive point. I would actually get the Alira reward and then take Elemental Focus. That's the passive tree. The passive tree could always be tweaked in a lot of different ways. So let's go and talk about my gear. First off, Essence of Insanity Helm. Essence of Insanity gives you Socket and Gems gain 50% of physical as extra lightning damage. I got this on my first Essence of Insanity. I kind of lucked out with this. I understand that, but it's pretty good. Essence of Insanity, the 50% of physical as extra lightning, that's a really good 5th link. It's better than added fire, and yeah, then it just gives you the ability to have much bigger hits of lightning damage, which is better for shocking, hence the shocking effect that I was grabbing. Pretty standard 4-link setup: control destruction, physical lightning, increase area of effect. If you do want to swap out for single target, I would actually suggest using increased critical strikes or increased critical damage, depending on your Ascendancy. This is for the simple reason that whenever you want your single target, you need you need to have as much AoE area coverage as possible. So if you have a boss that's mobile, you're more likely to hit it. When you use Conk Effect, it's great versus bosses that are immobile, but versus bosses that are mobile, it could be really inconsistent, and you'll feel it in the DPS, trust me. So immobile bosses, Conk Effect. Mobile bosses, either stick with increased area of effect or use like increased critical strikes, or maybe even faster casting, just something to make your damage a little bit more consistent so they're not being missed by your Shockwave Totem. Getting a level 21 Shockwave Totem, pretty big priority. The nice thing about Shockwave Totem is that the quality is just totem life, so you don't really need the quality on there. It's nice, but it's not necessary at all. So you could just get 6 Shockwave Totems to level 20 and just corrupt them. I got this on my 4th corruption, and we leveled, I believe, 12 at once, or maybe 9 at once. But I got this on my fourth one, so that was a pretty big boon. Now, the fact that it is in a helm means you could actually use any chest piece that you want. I obviously went with the Comb's Heart. Initially, I was using a Carcass Jack. But you could use a belly. If you want to do some not weird, but hybrid stuff, you might be able to get away with using a Beast per Shoal. But you want to make sure that you have enough life to support the hybrid part of you, because you're still susceptible to chaos damage. But you can use any chest piece that you want in this slot. Combs is a really good way to boost up your health, which, as you can see, I have 6,700 right now, and if I had moved some passive points around, I easily could have been at 7k, maybe even more. Tukahama Fortress, or otherwise known as a Bahama Fortress on my Twitch channel. This is really good. The fact that it gives you blood magic means that you can sustain your totems just on your life, which is pretty solid. So it's something that I like, something that you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about any mana. You don't have to worry about using a mana flask. You don't have to do anything like that. If you're not using this, then while you can reserve and you can use hatred and things like that, you do have to worry about your mana. So this is just a pretty big quality of life increase. And then having one additional totem is not bad, especially for single targets. It's really not. That's like a 50% multiplier, because you're just going to have one more totem hitting a boss. And a scepter with elemental penetration, you could get more damage on this. This one's pretty all right. More attack speed. Some rare rings, rare amulets. You don't necessarily have to use a marble amulet. You could probably use something else, something with strength and dexterity. Wouldn't be bad. You could kind of do a lot of things to affect your life regen, especially if you are using it to Tukahama's Fortress. Like you could drop a lightning golem, and you could use a stone golem, for example. Rings, life resist, strength, whatever you need. You don't have to use a rustic sash. This could be a leather belt. You could actually get quite a bit more life between these 3 slots, because this doesn't have that much life on it. This doesn't have that much life on it, and then this could have 40 more life. So right there, you're looking at another 120 life. And the reason why I bring that up is because you could use Hymn Sorrows, and that's something that I'm going to go into a little bit later in the video. But yeah, you could definitely lose your glove slot if you wanted more resist, or if you wanted some different utility out of it, or more damage. Pretty standard boots. I was using some Combs Roots for a while that had +1 Frenzy Charge that I got from a divination card, and that was fine and all, especially with my support, because my support was providing me Frenzy Charges. But this worked for me very, very well. So the skills I was using: Lightning Golem, Frost Bomb, Orb of Storms to generate power charges. Frost Bomb propped the lightning portion of my elemental, or my Mastermind of Discord. It says whenever damage penetrates 25% of lightning resist if you used a cold skill in the past 10 seconds. And then elemental, or not, I'm sorry. And then using a fire skill would make it to where 25% or your damage penetrates 25% cold resist, which we have flame dash as well. So having flame dash and frost bomb, I mean, you actually get everything because you kind of use any of them frequently, depending on the map. Like in a shore, you know, you're going to flame dash over obstacles. A lot of people who use shield charge actually still have flame dash as well, so you could go over obstacles. But dropping a frost bomb is real quick and gives you some gives you the damage out of Mastermind of Discord. So their skills, you know, shield charge, pretty straightforward. Flame dash, already talked about that. Vow Grace with increased duration. That's something that I started using near the end. It's pretty good. You could maintain this because it has a lot of duration on it. And yeah, casting damage taken setup, Mortal Call, and Feeble. Everything's pretty standard here. Everything's pretty standard. You could change this around a little bit. You could use a different golem. You could, you don't have to, you could maybe get a curse on hit setup depending if you're using like a Belly of the Beast or something else. Whatever. So there are things I would do differently with this build. I've kind of mentioned them a little bit already. First things first is I would actually, instead of taking the 2 points from the bandits, I would actually just go with Illyria. Illyria would give you more resist, which would makes it a little bit easier on your gear, and it gives you some other potentials with like your flasks, Wise Oak specifically, which I actually did forget to go over my flask. Pretty standard setup. Wise Oak, Silver Flask, Diamond Flask. I did switch to a Taste of Hate. I was using a Aziri's Promise before this, but I would still use an Aziri's Promise if I did something else, which I'm about to talk about. But anyway. So yeah, I would definitely go with Illyria over taking the 2 points, because what I would drop off of my skill tree right now are these 3 nodes right here. So if I lose the 2 points from, you know, taking Illyria and getting the all res, the crit multi, and the mana regen, I would then drop these 3 points. So I would actually gain 1 passive point out of this, and you could put that right back into life. You could do a lot of things with it, get a little bit more AoE. But that's just something that I would do differently now. Also because going with Illyria is going to help you with your mana regen. It's going to help you with any transition from a mana-based Shockwave Totem build, which you will be at first, to a blood magic build, because you're not going to be able to use Comb's Roots, or you're not going to be able to use Comb's Heart right away. You're not going to be able to use the Tokuhama's Fortress right away, which is more relevant to my point. But yeah, I would rather go with that. The other thing that I would do, sorry, excuse me, I had mentioned that you could get more life on your amulets. You know, while this is really good for DPS, like really good, I really looked out in this craft, and I was alking this, by the way. I was alk scouring this. You could get more life out of this, and you could get more life out of this being on a leather belt. I would use him Sorrow Gloves, because the reason why I switched to a Taste of Hate was so when I was solo, using a Tokuhama's Fortress, I could still shatter. That's actually why I switched to Taste of Hate. So I would just go with a Him Sorrow Gloves, which would give you 50% of your physical damage converted to cold. Now, in terms of Elementalist, this just makes it to where all of your points for Elementalist are completely effective for your damage, because I actually still have quite a bit of physical damage right now, and if I just had Him Sorrow Gloves and I had that 50% physical damage converted to cold, it would be pretty good, and I wouldn't have to worry about using a Taste of Hate. I would just use an Aziri's Promise, which Aziri's Promise is really, really good. Is there what else would I potentially do differently? There, you could make an argument for going Creighton because of the things that this build is lacking, which is, you know, movement speed. That's why we go with shield charge, but overall I would actually just prefer going with a Lyra, I think. So those are some of the things I would do differently. Also, my build, I didn't use shield charge for a really long time. I stuck with a wand for quite a while, but that just wasn't working. The shield charge is so much better, especially when you have a support who is doing a pretty good job of, you know, giving you frenzy charges and everything else. This build does operate well on its own and can do high level content on its own, especially, you know, I want to even say probably tier 15s. I haven't done too many tier 15 solo, but I think I have. I don't know. It's good enough, right? I would definitely start using shield charge earlier. You could probably just get away with a bright peak for quite a while. While this does give you a lot of damage, but you could use bright peak for quite a while. The other thing with this build that I kind of want to go over is, because, you know, I know Elementalist is not very appealing to a lot of people. I chose Elementalist because of the AoE that you get out of Pendulum Destruction and the penetration that you get out of Mastermind of Discord. The proliferation actually ended up being fantastic defensively for the build, because I would just freeze so many things. And then Shaper of Desolation, it does actually a pretty good job of applying shocks, because during the shocking conflux and the triple conflux, all of your damage applies to shock. So you could get some pretty big shocks out of this, and you could shock bosses if you could just, you know, if you hit them at the right times, and your DPS could be pretty damn good. But there are other options for Ascendancies if you are curious or interested in playing this. I would just, you know, off the top of my head, Inquisitor would obviously be really good. You would essentially just do the same exact passive tree and just, you know, come through here. Same exact thing, okay? Hierophant, I don't think it's as good, because I don't like the idea of getting a penalty on your totems. But then you also don't have to necessarily spec Ancestral Bond if you want to go Ritual of Awakening. So Hierophant isn't bad, also because it gives you 20% elemental penetration with Illuminated Devotion. Once you start looking at a Shockwave Totem, this is what I found. Once I started looking into it and considering it for Turmoil League and potentially for Mayhem, I'm not playing it for Mayhem, I'm playing something different, but I had a problem with, once you got to a certain point in gear, Illuminated Devotion didn't seem as valuable, and then all of a sudden I had this weird situation with the Ascendancy where it just didn't feel like it was impactful enough when all these other options were available. Hierophant you can still do, but I would definitely say Inquisitor is really up there, especially for someone who's soloing. If you don't have a support, I think Inquisitor would be really good for this. Ascendant is actually another one that would be really good as well. Ascendant with a with Hierophant and Assassin as the subclasses. Now, since this is in your helm, as a Hierophant, you get one more totem in your helm, so you wouldn't need Bahama Fortress as an Ascendant. You could still use Bahama Fortress, and you could even have 4 totems at that point, which wouldn't be bad. It would actually be pretty good. And then you also get power charges whenever you place a totem. So right now we're doing this thing with the Orb of Storms, which is really good, but getting power charges whenever you place totems is also really good, because it's 50% chance per placement. So it would essentially free up 2 gem slots for you. And if you're using a Comb's Heart, that's honestly really good. And all you would do is you would, you know, play pretty normally. You would come out through here, and once you got your final Ascendancy, I would probably start from Assassin or from Shadow and go through here and take these attack speed nodes and then just drop everything in Scion. So your tree would essentially just look like this. You could probably move some things around too to get the Scion Life Wheel and to get Totemic Zeal, but Ascendant would be really good with this build. And then you also get the base crit from Assassin, and again, that's something that's really good for Shockwave Totem with all this crit. You would have you would have quite a bit more crit. So something to consider: Ascendant, Inquisitor, Hierophant, and the last one is also Assassin. Now, Assassin is just going to give you a lot of like raw damage that you get from your crits. I think Assassin is a little bit better once you could get more penetration. Like if you ever get the lab enchant for your boots, you get penetration there. That's when Assassin becomes a little bit better, because it's the one that's lacking the least amount of penetration other than Hierophant and Ascendant. Inquisitor obviously gives you your crits ignore elemental resistances. Elementalist gives you Mastermind and Discord. But between Wise Oak, a potential essence, I believe it's, I can't remember what essence it is, but I think it's Essence of Insanity on your belt can give you, or it's Hysteria, but it could give you another 5% elemental penetration. Wise Oak, and then on your boots as well, you could get a nice amount of elemental penetration, and that would make Assassin pretty good. Also, I believe with Assassin, you would have so much crit that maybe, again, maybe, do not like take my like word for this, but maybe you could look at dropping a Diamond Flask. A Diamond Flask is really good, but as you get more and more crit, I think it loses value. I'm not sure. Maybe you wouldn't drop it because a Diamond Flask is really good, but yeah. So you could do it with, again, probably in order of what I think would be best. First, I think Inquisitor is probably the best, especially solo. Followed by Ascendant, because Ascendant gives you a lot of playability and a lot of options. Followed by Assassin, followed by Hierophant. I chose Elementalist above all of that. Well, I wasn't really considering Inquisitor, but take that as you will. You can look at it. The Ascendancy is flexible. Feel free to ask some questions in the comments down below, and I'll try to respond, and other people can respond too. So yeah. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about in this video, and again, if someone got to the end of this video, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't think Shockwave Totem is too far off from being a skill or a build that is meta, but it does need some things. If I could make any suggestion for it, I would like to see a small increase in its area of effect. Maybe +2 base radius, just a little bit, because especially for people who have watched my stream during the Turmoil event, most of the time their response was like, hey, the AoE is not that bad. So if it got a little nudge, I think it would be in a good spot. But then there's one other thing that's really important that is just not available to Shockwave Totem, but it's available to most other totem builds, and that's placement speed. The quality on Shockwave Totem is stupid. Totem life is stupid, especially after the nerf to Totem life. Like, so if the quality could be changed to placement speed, I would absolutely love that. Or if we could get placement speed available on rare jewels in like small amounts, that would be nice. Or there's another or, we could just add placement speed to the passive tree, like right here. You kind of have it with Totemic Zeal, and Totemic Zeal gives you a lot of placement speed. It gives you 45%, but Shamanistic Fury only gives you 15, which is good. But if we get a little bit more totem placement speed, it would feel a lot better. So yeah, that's about it. This is the Shockwave Totem build that I played in the Turmoil event. You could play it in Mayhem. Feel free to stop by my Twitch, twitch.tv/wabachaw. Ask me questions about it. Check out the VODs of me playing, and especially with the support, it's pretty good. And I think people would be surprised by it if they actually just gave it a chance. Bear in mind that I do think that it could use a little bit of love in some areas, being AoE and placement speed. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Sorry this video was a little bit longer. I just kind of wanted to give you all my thoughts about what I did in the Turmoil event. I am playing Mayhem as well. I'm going to be playing a champion curse support build with my friend who is playing a. I'm not going to say what he's playing, but it's a pretty cool build, and I'm really excited. I wish I was playing it, but I actually want to play a support too. But I'll probably play his build afterwards. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments. Check me on my, again, stream, twitch.tv/wabacha. You can also follow me on Twitter, which I'm going to start using again. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you later.